Lil Tay. She was once dubbed the youngest flexer of the century, flashing stacks of cash and designer gear before she even hit double digits in age. But this week, Lil Tay shocked the internet again, this time not for wild antics, but for launching an OnlyFans subscription account the exact minute she turned 18. At 12:01 a.m., she claimed to have made over $1 million within hours, stirring both outrage and disbelief across social media. Screenshots flooded Instagram of her bragging about breaking records with this drop, and critics didn't hold back, calling it disturbing, manipulative, and exploitative. Many questioned the morality and legality of men waiting for a teenage girl to cross the threshold of adulthood by minutes. But Tay wasn't hiding from the backlash. In fact, she leaned into it, telling her followers to let a girl get her bag and justifying her actions by comparing herself to stars like Sabrina Carpenter and Sydney Sweeney. She insisted she was finally making her own decisions. But that raised a deeper concern. Was this really her choice? Or just the latest move in a long-running pattern of being controlled behind the scenes? Back in 2018, the internet was captivated and confused by this foul-mouthed child who appeared out of nowhere, flaunting wealth and dissing haters with the confidence of a seasoned rapper. At just 9 years old, Lil Tay's Instagram was filled, with clips of her riding in Bentleys, tossing money like confetti, and flexing on her broke haters. But behind every viral video was a question. Who was holding the camera? Who was coaching her? As millions watched her rise to fame, skeptics began to piece together what seemed like a disturbing truth. Reports eventually confirmed what many had suspected. Tay's older brother, Jason, was directing her content, allegedly scripting her lines and manufacturing the rich kid persona, while her mother enabled the performance, even going as far as using luxury properties and cars they didn't own to create the illusion of extreme wealth. It wasn't just internet play. It was a performance of adult fantasies filtered through a child's face. And viewers weren't just uncomfortable, they were alarmed. That alarm caught the attention of someone very close to her, her father, Christopher. In 2018, he stepped in with a court order, pulling Lil Tay out of Los Angeles and relocating her back to Vancouver. He raised urgent concerns over her mental well-being, the fact that she had missed over 70 days of school, and how the online fame machine was consuming her childhood. The Canadian courts agreed, granting him custody and effectively erasing Lily Tay from the internet. Her videos vanished. Her Instagram went dark. For years, there was radio silence. It seemed like the wild ride had ended, but behind the scenes, the family tensions were far from resolved. While Christopher positioned himself as the protector, her fans remained divided. Was he genuinely trying to save her from exploitation, or was he just another adult trying to control the narrative? Either way, Tay was gone. But that vacuum would soon be filled by something no one saw coming: a bizarre, tragic, and deeply suspicious announcement. In August of 2023, Lil Tay's official Instagram account posted a statement that sent shockwaves through the online world. She and her brother were dead. The post claimed that both had died suddenly and unexpectedly, calling it a devastating loss. The internet mourned. News outlets including Variety picked up the story. Messages of grief poured in from fans, influencers, and even public figures. But quickly, things didn't add up. The LAPD had no record of her death. Neither did the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office. And within 24 hours, the truth unraveled. Tay was alive. In a statement to TMZ, she confirmed she and her brother were both fine. She claimed her Instagram had been hacked and used to spread false information, but the damage was already done. Some began questioning if it had really been a hack or a calculated PR stunt. A fake death announcement followed by a dramatic return to the spotlight? The timing was too perfect. People began to wonder, was this the ultimate bait and switch, engineered to reignite her career? The speculation only grew when, weeks later, news broke that Tay's mother had won a critical custody battle. After years of legal fighting, the court awarded her mother full decision-making authority over Tay's life and career. Her father was ordered to pay nearly $275,000 in retroactive child support, as well as ongoing monthly payments. With her mother back in control, Lil Tay resurfaced publicly, this time in a slickly produced music video titled "Sucker for Green." It marked her first official appearance in nearly 5 years. She was no longer the messy, viral child star of 2018. This Tay had rebranded, styled, choreographed, and camera-ready. But viewers weren't convinced that the exploitation had ended, just that it had changed form. The question became not whether she was being used, but who was now pulling the strings. The custody win may have shifted the power, but the same troubling patterns remained. Tay being used to generate attention, views, and income at every stage of her adolescence. Then came another twist. A new Instagram post claimed Tay was in the ICU with a life-threatening heart tumor. Photos showed her in a hospital bed, tubes attached, eyes closed. The caption explained she had a severe cardiac tumor requiring emergency open-heart surgery. It asked for prayers, well wishes, and once again, the internet's attention. But in a year already marked by a fake death announcement, fans didn't know what to believe. Was it true? Was it a hoax? Was it another manipulation of sympathy to drive traffic? While some followers sent supportive messages, others openly doubted the legitimacy of the post. There was no confirmation from medical sources, no hospital statement, no follow-up, just silence. In a media landscape where attention equals currency, the timing raised eyebrows. And even those who wanted to believe were forced to ask, how many times can someone cry wolf before the entire audience turns away? But they didn't turn away, because weeks later, she re-emerged, and this time she had something very specific to sell. Leading up to her 18th birthday, Lil Tay began a relentless campaign promoting an unnamed link she would drop as soon as the clock struck midnight on July 29th. Post after post hyped it up. She teased her first and only fit, hinted that she was broke, and claimed she had been waiting for this day since she was a kid. When the link finally dropped, it was confirmed to be an OAF account, only available for 24 hours, featuring content she said was filmed at 12:01 a.m. Fans were stunned. Critics were disgusted. She claimed to have made over 11 million in 3 hours. The internet exploded, but for many, it felt like a masterclass in manipulation. And once again, the same question echoed louder than ever. Was this really her choice, or just the next exploitative phase of a manufactured persona? Lil Tay's defense was bold. She addressed the controversy head-on, calling her haters grown-ass people who'd been doubting her since she was 9. She thanked her supporters, clapped back at critics, and said that anyone upset by her launch was simply sick. She insisted she was empowered, inspired by other women, and making her own decisions. She said she looked up to Sabrina Carpenter and Sydney Sweeney, and that they were modern feminist icons. In her words, anyone who criticized them, or her, was part of the problem. She compared the backlash to historical oppression of women, and framed her decision as a revolutionary act. But that narrative didn't sit right with many. People accused her of weaponizing feminism to deflect criticism, while participating in the very structures that enabled her earlier exploitation. It didn't help that her "I'm broke" narrative seemed strategically designed to generate sympathy and justify the adult content drop. Still, the biggest concern lingered. Was Lil Tay actually in control? Or was this just another performance, written for her by adults with something to gain? Her brother has resurfaced multiple times over the years, sometimes speaking on her behalf, sometimes accused of exploiting her. Her parents have fought publicly and privately for years. And every time Tay posts something shocking or controversial, it conveniently drives attention, views, and in this latest case, millions of dollars. With so much money at stake, it's hard for viewers to separate truth from marketing. Even Tay's most defiant posts feel scripted, like a continuation of the same manufactured chaos that launched her into fame as a child. The line between authenticity and manipulation has never been blurrier, and the audience is left wondering if the real Lil Tay has ever had a chance to speak for herself. From staged videos to fake deaths, ICU scares to explosive adult debuts, Lil Tay's life has played out like a reality show wrapped in mystery. Each chapter is more bizarre than the last, and yet it all seems to follow a familiar pattern: controversy, disappearance, comeback, and monetization. Whether you see her as a victim or a savvy player in the social media age, one thing's clear: nothing about her story is simple. She's polarizing, unpredictable, and impossible to ignore. And in an era where attention is the most valuable currency, maybe that's exactly the point. But as she leans into adult fame, the stakes are higher than ever. Is Lil Tay finally in charge of her destiny? Or is this just the latest version of the same old story? One where the spotlight never stops burning, and the truth is always just out of reach.